In Scottish newspapers it is called putting a kilt on a story. To wit, taking a subject, be it UK-wide or global, and looking at how it affects Scots. The most infamous example of putting a kilt on it is usually held to be the press and journals reporting of the Titanic disaster under the headline, "Aberdeen Man Drowns at Sea." The tale is not strictly accurate, however. On the first day of coverage there was no mention of Aberdeen, on the next there was a subheading, "Aberdeen People on the Titanic," but it was some way down the page. Still, the legend persists. Over the years, the Scottish media as a whole has become adept at putting a kilt on items when required. Occasionally, London-based political programs have a chance to return the compliment and feature Scottish stories, but they rarely do. Yesterday was a prime example. As you may have noticed, there was a big story in Scotland last week. Finance Secretary, text messages scandal, having to resign on day of his budget. Ring a bell? While one did not expect the Andrew Marr show in Sky News Ridge on Sunday to take the Derek Mackay story and go wall-to-wall with it, the subject was surely worth a standalone interview. Instead, the lineup on Marr was Liu Zimowing, the Chinese ambassador to the UK, Dr. Rosanna Allen Khan, who is standing for the deputy leadership of Labour, and Justice Secretary Robert Buckland. Sophie Ridge, meanwhile, spoke to Andy Burnham, the Mayor of Manchester, Dawn Butler MP, another Labour deputy leadership candidate, former Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt, and the Housing Secretary Robert Jenrick. Of the two lineups, perhaps only Ambassador Liu was of direct relevance to viewers in Scotland. Given the threat from coronavirus, what the Chinese government has to say is of vital importance to everyone on the planet. "We believe the virus is controllable, preventable, curable," said the ambassador. Nor did Scotland come up in the paper review on Marr. No surprise there, since the Scottish Sunday newspapers do not feature unless the programme has decamped north. Yet Broadcasting House, in many ways the Radio 4 equivalent of Marr's show, makes a point of inviting Scottish paper reviewers onto the programme now and then, and encourages them to talk about stories from their patch. How difficult would it be for the Marr team to set up a link to Scotland, or Wales and Northern Ireland, to find out what stories are making the headlines in the rest of the UK? Perhaps in the case of Marr the thinking was to leave the Mackay story to Sunday Politics Scotland. It was the first topic in host Gordon Brewer's review of the week with Jenny Davidson of Holyrood magazine and Peter Gekkegan, investigative journalist with the website Open Democracy. The main interview was a pre-recorded sit-down between Brewer and Keith Brown, deputy leader of the SNP. For more on this story, visit the news article link.